One thing I've always wanted to do, pitch against the best hitter of all time, Ted Williams.
All right, 3-2, bases loaded. 2 men out. Winner run at third, right?
Oh, the winning run at third, huh?
Bases loaded.
Gotcha. All right.
3-2.
All right.
You got to concentrate. Ball 4.
Where are we going?
Come on. I'm going to take you down where it all started. You drive. I'll tell you where to go.
You gonna trust me?
I don't know. You're a pitcher. Remember that.
Pitcher.
Bucket of bolts.
Ever been chauffeured around by a pitcher before?
What do you think of that, sports man?
Ted, I know where you're taking me. You're taking me back to your old high school. I had heard stories about how Williams would go and hit and hit and hit.
Listen, you got to work hard to succeed and be dedicated. And a lot of people that saw me as a young kid said, yeah, I think he can be a pretty good hitter. But I don't think there's anybody that ever said, yeah, he's going to be a great hitter.
Yeah.
I think you got to build into that.
Well, you certainly did some building here, didn't you?
Tom, this is where it all started.
This is it, huh? Hoover High School?
Yeah, I have an awful lot of memories here. It's newer now, but the locations are the same. And I look out towards left field.
Yeah.
And I remember that in my last year, there was a scout with the Cardinals who used to watch me every day. He had the glasses on me, you know. And he was the first scout that ever come to my house and said, I'd like to get you for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Did you play left field here?
I was a pitcher here. You didn't know that? You didn't know that? Well, I want to tell you,
Were you
buddy.
any good, if we'll get to the next
Well,
one?
I want to tell you, there was a Coast League team here, San Diego Padres, and I was signed as a pitcher outfielder. Pitcher outfielder.
Pitcher first and then outfielder?
Well, I'm not sure of that. But I did pitch in the Coast League, and I got knocked around a little bit, and they forgot about my pitching.
One of the great things of any young ball player, be it a Ted Williams or even one of these kids here at Hoover High, is that first time you get called to the big leagues. Do you remember that?
That is an easy one. I was getting attention from
Right.
some of the scouts, and I remember, and I was disappointed that I had been sold to the Red Sox. But I wasn't destined to be a member of the team that year because they had a great outfield.
And then you got called the next year, 39. Was that your first year in the big
39
leagues?
was my first year in the big leagues.
Ted, you once said that you could remember every instance about your first 300 home runs. I'm going to give you an easy one, the 1941 All-Star Game.
Yeah, that's an easy one because it was the biggest thrill I ever got in baseball.
And you've said that
It happened just at the right time in a young player's career, and it was my first start in an All-Star game. And Claude Passot had had a great year.
Ninth inning, more than 54,000 in Detroit's Briggs Stadium wait in anticipation. Claude Passot delivers ball 4. He walks Cecil Travis and loads the bases with 1 out. Waiting to bat, Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams. DiMaggio, the hitter, Passot's pitch, ground ball to short, might be 2. Miller to Herman for 1, relay, not in time. American League is still alive, and that sets the stage for Ted Williams. 2 on, 2 out. American League trailing by 1 run. Williams takes the strike from Claude Passot. And the next pitch, long drive, deep right field. Maybe the ball game, home run. Ted Williams has just won the All-Star game with a ninth-inning dramatic 3-run home run. The American League wins 7-5, and Ted Williams having a tremendous year, hitting over 400. Is there anybody who can get him out?
I have to think that I had the league betwixt and between. They didn't know whether to pitch me high. They didn't know whether to pitch me low. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And the league was made to order for me then. I knew the pitchers. I was stronger. I had more confidence. And again, I had everybody in doubt. Well, how do you pitch this guy? Nobody'd hit 400 for 11 years, and now I'm realizing the importance of the possibility of hitting 400. I really wanted to hit 400. And the thought of ever not playing the last game after getting a hit, or even if I hadn't played the last game, it would have been officially 400, but it never entered my mind, never once, of not playing.
Tell me about the last game.
And this is something that was really unusual. I got up to the plate, and I'm all set to hit. The pitcher was taking the sign, and all of a sudden, Bill McGowan, the umpire, stopped the game momentarily, and he turned his back towards the pitcher, and he started wiping the plate again.
Right.
It was perfectly clean, but he started wiping the plate again, and he said, bending down, he said, in order to hit 400, he says, you got to be loose. Now, he did that for my benefit, see?
Sure.
And then Frankie Hayes, who was the catcher, said, we're going to pitch to you. He said, we're not going to give you anything, but he said, we're going to pitch to you. Mr. Mack said to pitch to you.
Remember this date, fans, September 28, 1941. It may be a history-making day. Red Sox and A's in a doubleheader here at Shibe Park in Philadelphia. But all eyes are on this man, Ted Williams, gunning for a 400 season. He's hitting an even 400. I think if I were Ted, I would sit out today, but Ted never backed into anything. Dick Fowler, the pitcher for the Philadelphia A's. Here's the pitch to Williams. Line drive, base hit. Ted Williams has a hit in his first at-bat. Ted now 3 for 4. First game of the double bill. The pitch to him, long drive, deep right field. This ball is out of here. Ted Williams, 4 for 5 in game 1, is still going to play the second one. Second game of the doubleheader. Williams, a line drive, blue darter. It hits the horn in right field, and Ted has himself a double. Ted finishes the doubleheader 6 for 8, batting .406. Not too bad a day.
Not a bad day. All of them blue darters?
No, I think most of them were. I know I hit 2 or 3 between first and second. I hit that horn. I don't remember any cheap hits.
Did you ever get a cheap hit?
I don't like to remember them, but I sure got them. I remember I got one time. It was 2,400 hit or somebody, and it was a real squeaker over shortstop, right on the fist, you know. And the pitcher hollered out to me. He says, you ought to be proud of that one, he said.
Ted, you had a great rookie year, an outstanding sophomore year. Your third year, you hit over 400. Now, how can you follow up?
So I always forget about the year that just passed. Always feeling that you got to do better the next year.
Right.
That's the way I always kind of program myself.
Personally, for you, 42 was a great year.
That's right.
You lead the league in hitting, you lead the league in home runs, you lead the league in RBIs. After 1942, the Triple Crown year, you lose what really are 3 of your prime years to World War II.
I can think of 4 or 5 players that whose careers were great that were penalized during those years, but I've never regretted those.
You come back out of the service, 1946. Lou Boudreau did something that might have altered your career.
By the middle of 46, I was really tattooing the ball and breaking up a lot of things. In fact, so much so that Lou Boudreau devised the Williams shift. Boudreau shift is what they called it. I call it the Williams shift. The shortstop was playing right behind second base, and the third baseman was in just a little bit to protect against a bunt. So I could see that I was losing hits. That's when I started to really realize I've got to really do something about this.
The next batter is Ted Williams, trying to solve the puzzle of that Boudreau shift. Boy, that left side looks tempting, but Ted likes to pull. Williams is bunting. It's a beauty base hit for Ted Williams. Oh, that'll sure shake him up.
And as a result, they started to loosen up a little bit, but really and truly, they never broke up that shift, even till the last part of my career.
The 1946 All-Star game, after coming back from the war, was another You know, I mean, you've got memorable events all the way through your career, but this is another one.
Well, yeah, I had to be charged up for that one because it was in Boston. The only All-Star game I played in Boston.
Well, it's the 8th inning here at Fenway Park, and this jam-packed house has seen Ted Williams' day today. Already, Williams has 2 singles and a home run. Now he's facing Rip Sewell on the mound with that famed blooper pitch. I don't think even Williams could hit that ball out.
We talked about it before the game, and we all agreed pretty much that it couldn't be done.
Here it comes. There she goes! Ted Williams has just hit a home run off the blooper pitch of Rip Sewell. I didn't think it could be done. But Ted Williams has done it off of all things, the blooper pitch.
And the thing of it is that I had to supply all the power myself. You know, it was just like a little girl could hit that ball, but how far they could hit it would be another matter.
After the War of 46, what kind of team did the Red Sox have?
Well, they had acquired some fellows during the war that really added strength to the Red Sox team.
It's 1946, a banner year for the Boston Red Sox. Sox owner Tom Yawkey and general manager Eddie Collins welcome home their troops from the war. Big Tex Hewson dusts off the old fastball. Bobby Dorr and Johnny Pesky are back in double play depth. Tom DiMaggio patrols the outfield. But the big news in Beantown is the return of Ted Williams. After a 3-year hiatus, Triple Crown Ted shows he's still got that sweet, smooth swing and spearheads the Sox to their first pennant in 28 years. So the 46 World Series features Ted Williams and Stan Musial, the game's 2 most valuable players. It's a dramatic series, the St. Louis Cardinals finally nailing it down in the 7th game. But for Williams, the series is nothing but frustration. Even when he hits it well, there always seems to be someone there to nab it. He can only manage 5 hits and 1 RBI in 7 games. A bitter disappointment for both the Red Sox and their #1 slugger, Ted Williams.
Biggest disappointment of my career really was my poor showing in the series. I didn't do very well, and I always hoped that I certainly would get in another one. I never did.
Even though you lost the 46 World Series, you did win the Most Valuable Player Award.
Oh, you bet. It was the first time I'd won it, and it certainly was a big thrill.
Next year, you're a Triple Crown winner, and you don't win the Most Valuable Player Award. I can't believe it.
Well, I always felt that to some degree it wasn't fair. But I have to say this, that I only lost out by 1 point, and I lost out to the greatest player I ever saw, Joe DiMaggio.
Was there some discrepancy in the voting that you feel, Ted?
Well, there was a Boston writer who I had an argument with that summer, and he failed to give me a 10th place vote, not even a 10th place vote.
He didn't put you in the top 10,
That's right, and a 10th place vote would have given me two points.
You were the Triple Crown winner, and he didn't put you in the top 10.
That's right.
Don't think he liked you.
I don't think so.
During this period of right after the war, 1946 to 1950, you had a kind of a stormy relationship with the press and the fans in Boston.
Yeah, that's right. And I provoked a little ill feeling on a couple occasions when I made some nasty gestures, and the press had made it an extra special point to try to really lay it on me.
Right.
In fact, they even went so far, some of them, to say, that I ought to quit. And it just so happened that they had their first family night in Boston. There was a lot of press there, and they were all going to see just how the fans were going to react and how old Ted was going to get crucified right there at home plate. And I want to tell you, they en masse rose, and they gave me one of the greatest ovations I ever had. And I changed my feeling about Boston fandom. I realized then that baseball fans of New England were really for Ted Williams, and that I felt that way all the rest of my days.
I think it's about time you taught me a little something about hitting. What do you say?
All right. That might not be too easy. This is a bat.
Very good. I got that.
And I want to see how well you use it.
You're talking to one of the best hitting pitchers around now.
We'll see. We'll see.
You sound like you don't believe that.
Don't get hurt.
Don't get hurt and then get a strike.
Pretty good bunt.
All right, Coach.
That might get him over.
All right, watch the swing now.
All right. Up. Heart was in it, but, you know, the rest of the body looked like it was bailing a little bit.
If you're going to take a young hitter and give him one piece of advice, well, the basic things about hitting, what would you say?
Well, he's got to get a good ball to hit. Now, that means that a ball that hasn't fooled him or that is not in a tough place in his strike zone. And I think that there would be the number one physical thing that I would talk about in starting a baseball swing.
Anybody ever teach you how to hit?
Nobody.
Starting right here at Hoover High and all the way up to...
No, but I'll tell you what. I did have natural ability, but I practice as much as anybody I've ever known. I have to think, and I said it, that to hit a baseball is the hardest single thing to do in sports.
1949, your second most valuable player award, and then even after that, another kind of disappointment in your career. You had to go to war again, Korea.
I was called back with a bunch of reserves.
Back in the airplanes?
That's right.
How long did you spend over there, Ted, in Korea?
Well, I was over there in 51 and part of 52, and I missed the 51-52 seasons pretty much.
So you come back from the war, and you have some pretty good years, and you get to 1957, you're 38 years old, and you have what people have called your golden year.
Well, you know, a funny thing happened there. That spring, I had used a heavier bat in spring training, and I was hitting the ball, just meeting the ball, you know, and the ball was just ringing off my bat.
Ted Williams, at age 38, hitting like the splendid Splinter of old. Using a heavier bat to complement his added girth, Williams is simply shattering the baseball. On May 8th, he hits 3 home runs in a single game. Then a month later, duplicates this feat to tie a major league record. The Yankees' Mickey Mantle makes a run at Williams for the batting title. But in late September, Williams hits a towering round tripper to start an astonishing streak, and he leaves Mantle in the dust. Hitting home runs in 4 consecutive at-bats, reaching base safely an incredible 16 straight times, Teddy Ballgame finishes at a phenomenal .388 to become the oldest batting champion ever.
And I was only 6 hits away that year of hitting 400 again. And that's one of the reasons I've always felt that there's every chance in the world for another 400 hitter.
You win the batting title in 1957, 38 years old. Player of the decade in 1960. You've got to start thinking about retirement.
Well, as a matter of fact, after my poor 59 season, when I had a pinched nerve in my neck, I considered retiring. In fact, Mr. Yawkey, the last time I saw him that season, he said, Ted, he said, I think you ought to retire.
You're 41 years old then,
That's right.
Yeah.
But I said to myself, if I feel good, I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah.
And that's what I did in 1960.
Tell me about your last time at bat. I got to hear about that.
Well, it had to be a great thrill for me.
You were in Fenway Park,
In
right?
Fenway Park,
Against
a
Baltimore.
lousy day.
Yeah.
And Jack Fisher was a pitcher. I knew it was the last time I was going to get up, and that this was it for me. I'd already made up my mind that I was going to quit.
Well, fans, this is it. Ted Williams going to the bat rack for the final time. These Boston fans adore number 9. Everybody standing at Fenway Park. Imagine the thoughts going through his mind. Ted would like to go out with a bang. Williams takes ball 1. Swing and a miss. No doubt Williams is going for the fences. Long drive to deep right field. Williams may have got it. He has a home run. Ted Williams has hit number 521 in his final at bat in the major leagues. Who else could do it but Ted? Ted Williams crosses home plate for the last time.
Ted, you retired in 1960. What were your interests after that?
Well, immediately I got connected with Sears Roebuck,
All right.
and at present I am chairman of their sports advisory committee.
Fishing is your hobby, isn't it?
It certainly is. I live in Florida, in a great fishing area, and I spend my summers up in New Brunswick fishing for Atlantic salmon, the greatest of all fish.
You took a little time off from your fishing trips and went up to Cooperstown for the Hall of Fame, didn't you?
Well, that has to be one of the greatest thrills that can ever happen to a ball player. I received 280-odd votes from the writers, and I know I didn't have 280-odd close friends among the writers. But I know that it's the greatest thrill of my life.
Ted Williams, lifetime batting average, .344. American League batting champ, 6 times. 521 home runs. Major League Player of the Year, 4 times. American League All-Star, 18 times. Player of the Decade, 1951 through 1960. The last man to hit 400, Ted Williams, the greatest hitter of them all.